Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the channel or welcome back. Today, actually, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of like walk you guys through 11 SQL problems so that you guys maybe you probably want to brush up on your SQL skills or you're just learning, right? Or maybe you're preparing for interviews. I thought that it would be a good idea to kind of like show you guys thought, progress, or something like that. um yeah, I hope you guys actually enjoy it. Yeah, so the first question was from A, B, and B, and we're told that it's called ranking most active guests. So we're told that we need to rank guests based on the number of messages they've exchanged with the host. Guests with the same number of messages as other guests should have the same rank. Okay, do not skip ranking if the preceding rankings are identical. Output the rank, guest ID, and number of totals they have sent, order by the highest number of total messages. Okay, that was a lot to take in. So what I do is that I like to kind of like have, I like to break these problems into like small chunks that is solvable. Also, kind of like write the problem in my own words, right? So according to me, I think we have to rank guests based on the messages they they have shared, right? With all the host, right? With all the host. I'm just gonna do it that way. So because the reason I'm using the term all is because I'm assuming that the guest, um, yes, the guest could have been could have had multiple hosts. So I will have to look at all their hosts. So hence I'm using this term host all here. I'm just gonna so this is just to remind us when we're doing this um, how we need to rank this, right? So if it happens that it's not supposed to be like this in an interview, you can ask your interviewer just to make sure that your assumptions from the questions they are aligned. So the second thing that I like to do is to make certain assumptions. You know, so we assume that we're going to rank the guest for all the messages they have shared with all their hosts. So that's my assumption. We assume that we're going to rank the guests, okay, for all the messages they shared with all the hosts, okay, all the hosts. So we're gonna say we assume that um, looking at the schema that we're given, I'm assuming that this this end messages it's an int. But sometimes the reason I'm making these assumptions is because sometimes you don't see the data, so you don't see how the data looks like or something like that, right? So hence it's good to make sure because now the reason I'm making this assumption is because they could have given us the messages as like as a message, but it does not have a number. Like it's not like saying okay they have changed five. No, it's just a message. So then you how you gonna solve this problem is gonna change ultimately. So hence you need to know if the column is numeric or it's in varchar or anything like that. Okay, so if not, mom, so we're gonna have to do more work. So if not, we're gonna have to uh, like group by that text. But in this case, we don't have to do this because we know that it's numeric, so it's fine. So the reason this might sound like silly, but honestly, sometimes in an interview, you're not even given a table, so you don't even see the table. So hence you only rely on on the on the the assumptions that you're making to understand. So hence I'm walking you through these assumptions. Okay, so I'm gonna break down the solution. Okay, so we're gonna say, since we know that we need to rank the guests based on all their number of messages, we will group by the guest ID, and we're gonna sum by the number of messages. Okay, so with that said, what we need to do is that we will definitely group by the guest ID, because we need to count their number of messages, right? So we will group by that and then sum the number of messages that they had. Okay, so this is one thing that we're gonna do. Then we're told that, okay, now that we're done with this part, we're told that guests with same number of messages as others should have the same rank. So before I go to that, I just want to say, if you don't understand like these functions, group by, sum, let me know and I'll create a video covering these basic steps, like in SQL, like window functions and stuff like that. I'm assuming that you know some of these concepts. If you don't worry about it, but let me know. I'll create another video just to explain all of these concepts. Anyway, with that out of the way, I wanted to say that we're told that guests with the same number of messages as others should have the same rank. So what they mean here is that if it happens that as much as we grouping this by guest ID, and some of the guests will have the same number of messages, they should have the same rank. So for example, let's say we have David is ranking number 1, maybe it's like number of messages is like 1000. Number 2, we have Friends, maybe is ranking number 2 because his number of messages is 900. Then we have Michael also has 900, so we're gonna give them the same rank. That's what they say essentially. Okay, so but with that, there's a trick. They say that do not skip ranking if the preceding rankings are identical. So what they're saying here is that, yeah, John was number 1 with 1000, Friends was number 2, Michael was number 2 also. So the fourth guest should be maybe number 3, not go to number 4, right? Not skip and go to number 4 because of number 3 is occupied by number 2. No, you don't have to do that. You have to like give this one number 3. So that's what they say essentially, né? So some of you might already know there's a function called tens rank, which we're going to use the window function, and it does not skip. It does what I just showed you now. It's like if like we have similar ranking, it's just going to make sure that it does not skip and go to 4. It's going to give the fourth guest number 3. And in contrary to that, I think it will be good to kind of like let your interviewer know that you know about other methods. The second one will be the tens. So the tens is different from actually the rank. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. I meant the rank is different from. So what it does the opposite. So let's say we have 1, 2, 2, and here it's just gonna give it 4. So it's gonna skip. It's gonna go to 4 directly. So, and we have another one called window function called row number. So this one is just gonna give each user a unique number. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, but based on the equation, we're supposed to use tens rank. That's one thing that you should know. Okay, so now I'm gonna do what I said, right? Which is that we're gonna take the ID guest, okay, which is ID guest. Then we said that we wanna group by number 1. So number 1, when I say 1, you can think of like I'm taking the first column. So the first column, as we can see here on the far left bottom, it's ID guest. So I'm taking that. Then what I'm gonna do is that we set that we wanna sum by number of messages. Then we're gonna do that. So we're gonna say sum. So you can think of this, it's just gonna take all of their individual messages, it's gonna crunch them into one thing. So we are not done. We have these two columns, but we were told that we need to rank them. Okay, so how can we rank them? Like I said, we're gonna use the function called dense rank. Okay, then we're gonna say over. So these when I'm doing from over, like these are like window functions that we use, and I'm gonna say order by sum of n messages, and I'm gonna try to, because we want the user with more number of messages. That's why I'm saying order them in a descending order. Then I'm gonna call this rank n messages. Okay, and if I run this, we should be able to see the results. Where did I make a mistake? I think it was around here. It was a typo. Group, and we should be fine, and we are. So I'm just gonna go in straight and check my solution, and it works. So we got to go, right? So that was it, guys. This is the first question. Now we're gonna look at the second question. So this is the second question, guys. We are told that we need to find all the wineries which produce wine by processing aromas of plum, cherry, rose, etc. So they're also told that to make it more simple, look only for singular form of the mentioned aroma. Okay, so usually what I like to do is that I like to understand the problem and write it in my own words, but in this case I don't think that's necessary, because we're told it's straightforward. We're told that just find the wineries, and the wineries aroma should contain this. Okay, so instead what I would like to understand from this is that let's understand the schema. So by the schema I mean the type of columns, and like, do we have a column called aroma? So let's look at the schema. Okay, so we have ID, country, description, designation, province, and winery. So the winery column is there, but we don't have the aroma column, so which is make it quite difficult. So it looks like we're gonna have to rely on the description, guys, because the description, that's where they talk about all of these aromas like blackberry notes and all of this stuff, right? So yeah, we need to find the aromas in the description. Okay, so that means we need to search the aroma in that description. So with that, then what's the solution? What's like the solution? What's our approach then? It could be that we can use a like function, right? So by like function I mean we can say where description like, then we can say something like, we can pass in a specific aroma there. I don't know, one of it is called plum. Okay, so this is fine, but the problem here is that the like is sensitive, case sensitive, right? So just gonna say case sensitive. So the thing is here, we're gonna face an issue. So there's another function called I like, which solve this part. So it's just gonna make sure that we don't face this problem. Okay, so that's one way we can go about it, right? What problems do you think we can face if we go with the solution? The second problem that I'm thinking is that we're gonna have to write too many code, because we're gonna have to say, or we're gonna have to do or, then take this code, copy and paste it here, and what is the next one is gonna be rows. So we're gonna have to do this and or do that again. So we're gonna have more code. Is there a way we can reduce this amount of code that we're gonna have? And the answer is yes, we can. So we're gonna say, in case we're gonna say where description, okay, like or I like any, then we can pass those plum rows, those aromas in a more like an array. So we can say like array, then we can say something like just detect where plum is, and you can pass it like so. So you can say cherry and so. That's one way we can go about it. So my thinking here is that given this, can you also come think of like a problem that we can face if we go with this approach, right? So we're definitely searching for plum in the description, right? And we're definitely making sure that the case sensitive, if like instead the plum is written like in caps, it will still be able to detect it. The problem here though is that if we have text, like let's say cherry is embedded in a word, it's gonna detect it because we're using these functions here, wildcard functions. So what I'm saying here, let's look at example. Let's say, I don't know if we can find it, but I don't know if we're gonna find it. But the point is that you see this blackberry here. Let's say they were saying that we should find a berry, but then it's gonna detect this. It's gonna say, yeah, this is fine. So I think the best thing we can do is that we should write the code and test run it. So I'm just gonna copy what we've written here, and I'm just gonna say paste it here. So we're gonna say where description I like any array. Now I'm gonna have to copy all of this, guys, right? So just to make sure that we're good, so I'm gonna pass it here as a rows, and we're gonna pass it here as has not, and I'm just gonna run this. Okay, what do we have? So let's look at this one. Aromas, yeah, this is cherry, right? So we're able to find something here. This is good. What's next? But the point here is that if like it's an edge case, if it happens that that cherry is embedded in a weight, so what I'm saying is that you can imagine that we have, just to give an example, we have like some text, then we have cherry in the middle, then some text. This is not cherry, right? But it will detect it as like cherry because it's there. So we want to find a way, because now if I submit, it failed. It wouldn't work. So let's try to solve this, right? Let's see. So it failed. The solution is not accepted. So we still have some of those things that, yeah, like I said, that's the problem. So we need to find a way, and that's where regular expressions comes in. They are like, they are powerful, and they can actually help us to overcome this problem. Okay, so we can say where description, then we can actually lower the description because we're not gonna use we're not gonna use the like. Actually, I think I'm just gonna remove this. So we can lower description, and we can say please detect. I'm just gonna use this, say plum or cherry or rose or nuts. Um, then I'm just gonna use close this and y. Okay, so here it's just a ruler expression just to make sure that we want these words, but they show up okay like individually in the description. That's what this regular expressions mean. Um, did I make a mistake, guys? Okay, I think I did, which is okay. So now this is our code, and if we submit, did we make any? The solution is incorrect. Okay, yeah, because they say that the subject will be expected. The solution values in each column names. Okay, yeah. Sorry about this, guys. I think it's because we show distinct. I'm gonna say distinct binaries. Okay, I'm gonna say so. I'm gonna select the binaries that they want me to select, and here I'm gonna say distinct, and I'm gonna run this code, and I'm gonna submit, and it worked. So that's the solution, guys. Sorry about this. It's like I think they did not mention. Usually, like they tell us what that we have to output. So they'll say like output only this or something like that. So they didn't mention here. So that's why I didn't know if they want us to output this. But anyway, that's fine. So yeah, you don't have to know these regular expressions in an interview. I'm not sure. Maybe you have to, but I'm thinking that like the most important thing personally I think guys is like the approach, the thinking, that's what counts more. uh so I feel like if you can explain like all of these edge cases and say something like, yeah, but what if we have this, if it happens that you don't know the syntax, as long as like you're thinking, it's because obviously we always search this stuff on Stack Overflow. We always like go through the documentation and we can't remember each syntax. So I'll say like don't feel bad if you don't know the syntax. Sometimes I feel like the most is the logic, the critical thinking. That's what counts. I think. So let's go to the third question, guys. Okay, guys. Now we're on our third question. So it's called acceptance rate by date. So we're told that actually we are asked that what is the overall friends acceptance rate by date. Your output should have the rate of acceptance by date the request was sent, or the earliest date by latest. Assume that each friend request that by a user sending a friend request to another user that is locked in the table with action send. If the request is accepted, the table locks accepted. If the request is not, then it's gonna be no record of action will be logged. Okay. I know that was a lot to take in, so let's try to break it the problem down. So I'm gonna call this problem understanding. So essentially we need to find the acceptance rate by date. So what is the acceptance what is the acceptance rate, right? So I am thinking that the acceptance rate in this case is that we need to count the number of acceptance, then divided by the whole. Um, I'm not considering any group by. So count the number of acceptance. Okay, of acceptance and maybe divided by the number of the overall. Let me just use a simple English. The overall, okay? So what is my second question then will be like acceptance. What does it mean for the user to be like accepted? So assume that each user start by sending a request. So I assume that okay, my understanding of acceptance then will be if the user send the request, what's the send a request, right? Then and that as that request is accepted, to me guys, this sounds like the definition for acceptance. Okay, so it sounds like the definition for acceptance. So that's what it means. So that means we need to find where a scenario whereby the user sent a request and it was accepted. Only that. So if they send this, if they send a request and it was not accepted, that does not mean it's acceptance. Okay. So what's next? We're told that your output should have the rate of acceptance by date. So those are like admin work. I usually consider them as admin because it's like what your output should look like, what you should order by. So I want to get into the meat portion first. Okay. I feel like this should be enough for us to kind of like start formulating our solution probably. So we haven't looked at the schema. We don't understand what we have. So it will be a good idea to kind of like understand the columns that we have. So we have a user IDs. So the user sender, and we have a receiver, we have a date, and we have an action. Okay. So what's going on here is you can see that we have an action. So now we have a user. This user here send this user here a request on this date. That's what it means essentially. Okay, so then how will you then start solving this? I am thinking that let's separate these two tables because we are given this, and let's separate it into two. So we're gonna have two tables. We're gonna have one to have two table, so one for send and one for accept. So and some of you might be like, why are we doing this? Why do we have to have two tables? It's because we want to have one table, then the other one for, then we can be able to join them, and when we join them we will be able to see all the acceptance the accepted request, so to speak. So you can think of like let me just do a table here. Actually, let me open one node. So what I'm saying is that you can think of like we have send, right, and we have accept. Okay, so I am saying that let's take this one table and divide it into two, and we have the accept here and we have the send here. Okay, so what we do then is that we're gonna have all the send here, we're gonna have all the accept here. So what we do now is that we join these. Okay, we join this. So when we join this, you can think now we're gonna have a very long table. But the good thing is that we will be able to see, oh, this was sent, and it was accepted. Oh, this was sent, but no accept was there. So it's gonna help us. This was sent, but it was accepted. You see, then now we can be able to count how many of this happened, and now these we won't count because it's not acceptance rate by the definition. So that's pretty much the idea. Okay guys, that's what I mean when we need to divide these by two. Okay, so yeah, and we essentially going to join the two tables, and for me not to forget and wrap up the admin. By the admin, I mean things like order by, um, output, output columns, etc. So those are the, I call them admin. But anyway, without wasting any time, guys, I'm gonna start um, with the coding part. So I'm gonna say with send request. So this is my first questions, my first table. I'm gonna say with, and we're gonna say filter this and say where action equals to send. Okay, then we say accept. Can I do this? Accept a request is, actually, you know what, just to save time, I'm just gonna copy this and paste. But instead of send, we're gonna say accept. So we've separated our two tables. So what I'm doing here is that you can think like I have two tables whereby it only contains send, and I have one table where it contains accept. So now we're gonna have to join this, and I'm gonna do a full join. So I didn't tell you about that. So full join, it's gonna actually allow me to see those send that did not get that did not get actually accepted. So if you're doing an inner was just gonna crush all the other things that are not there. So a left join, right join will also do the same. So you don't want to remove anything, right? So yeah, but that's the point. So before we get to the final step, which is whereby we need to count the number of acceptance rate, I just want to say, I just want to show you guys what these two tables looks like. So let's look at the accept request so that you have an idea of how these tables looks like. So I'm just gonna run this code, and this is how it looks like. So you can see we have accepted, and similarly if we do the same for the send request, it will have the same type of question. It's just, so this one has send. So the tricky part is that now you can think like we have this table, we're going to full join them. So each row is going to be joined based on the send ID of the user and the receive ID, right? So we're going to join this, and at some point it's going to have send and accept to show that, okay, the request was accepted, and it's going to have send and accept, right? So but at some point we're going to have send alone, and we're not going to have accept. So what this means is that this request was not accepted, so it's still on the send. So this is what we're gonna do then. This gives us a clue that, okay, we need to count all the accept, right? We need to count all the accept, and we're gonna divide them by count all the send. So it's the same formula that I told you about, whereby we're gonna say acceptance equals to the acceptance, then we divide by the whole. So why am I making my send a whole? It's because every request is gonna have a send. Every request is gonna send is always gonna be there. Like we're not gonna have a missing record, because every request has to have a send. If you don't trust this column, then you can create another column and use that. But you know what? Just assume that every request is gonna have a send. So this is gonna be our whole. We're gonna count this as our whole, then we're gonna divide it by the accept. So this should give us our answer. So let's do that now. I hope that drawing did not confuse you more. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is that I'm gonna actually say um, select from accept, okay, and actually I like to call these columns as accept, so that when we join them, and I'm gonna do a full join, then you can say send request, then I'm gonna call this one send, and I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna say on send dot, so I'm sending on user ID. So also, guys, I want to say that I don't think we should also join these, include the date, mainly because um a user can send multiple requests, so to the same user, like, so there's always going to be one user. So I think joining by two columns, which is the sender and the receiver, that's fine. You know, so we're gonna have sender equals to accept, so we're joining by these dot user ID sender, and so we're joining by these two because our assumption is that a user can only send one request to one user, so it's safe to join by this. If not, then we might actually include the date, but that I think it's safe. Receiver equals to accept dot user ID receiver. Okay, then when we are done, guys, we're gonna have a full table. I'll actually like to run this and show you guys how it looks like. I'm just gonna show you, and you guessed it, we have send request, send, so we have send ID receiver, send ID receiver. Let me see, say send accept, send, okay, send request. Sorry guys about that. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for, guys. This is the table. As you can see, like I told you, we're gonna have instances. As you can see from this row, you see it does not have accepted, but we're gonna have, every row is gonna have a send because it's a request, right? So you can see, but this one does not have accept. So what we need to do, this give us a clue. That means we need to count the number of accepted, and we're gonna divide by the total, which is the total number of send requests. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So now the question told us that we need to do this by the date, and we're told that what is it, have the rate of acceptance by the date of the request. So we need to use the date from the send. So I'm just gonna say group by send dot date, and I'm just gonna say group by date. Then here, guys, this is where the tricky part is. So we're gonna say count number of acceptance rate. So how do we do this? So like I said, we count the number of acceptance, then we divide by the whole, which is the send in this case. So I know Postgres is gonna give me some errors. So what I do is that I need to cast on my count. So I'm just gonna cast enforce the data type. So I'm just gonna say accept dot action. So I'm counting all of that as float. Then I'm gonna divide and cast also. I'm gonna count. Okay. Then I send dot action. Then I also say as float. Then when I'm done, I'm gonna say as acceptance rate. Okay, does this work? Yeah, it works. So, but like I said, guys, the admin, right? Go back to the drawing board. We set order by outputs, those admins. Now we need to do them. So what are they saying? They say that order by the earliest date. so we don't have to do the descending. So we can just write order by send date, order by send dot date. What's another that mean? Your output should have the rate acceptance by day. So I think we should have one column and we should be fine, and that's it. So I'm gonna submit. So the solution is incorrect because I didn't include the date. I see. So we're supposed to have send dot date. Sorry about that, guys. And check the solution and it works. So yeah, that's that. I know this one was quite a lot to take in. Also, I think it was because there was quite a lot of understanding in terms of acceptance. What does it mean? So yeah, it could have. If you didn't understand, I'll say watch it again. Try it yourself. I'll leave the link in the description and yeah, see if you can crack it. Yeah, now let's go to the fourth question, guys. So now we're gonna look at the hard question by Yelp. So we're told that we need to find the top 5 states with the most 5-star businesses. So output the state name along with the state with the number of 5-star businesses and order the results by the number of 5-star businesses in descending order. In case there are ties in the number of businesses, return all the unique states. If the 2 states have the same results, sort them in alphabetical order. I think I have a good grasp of the question, but I'll still like to kind of like show you guys what they actually want. So let's say we have a table like this, right? So we have a table. You can think of like we have a state, right? Column called state. So a state in the US, let's say California, right? And we have businesses, right? So could be business ID 1, 2, and we have probably stars. And this business have like 5-star, 5-star, something like that. So what we need to do is that we need to get all the 5-star businesses from California. So which means that essentially we're gonna have to group by, okay, group by state. So when we group by state, we're gonna get all these values by the state. Then after we group by, we need to count the business ID. So we need to count the business ID because why are we counting is because we want to know how many 5-star businesses are in California. So that's why we're counting their business ID. But the most important thing that we can't forget is that we need to filter. We need to have a word clause because the stars we could be having 1, 2, so we don't want those. We only want 5-star. So we have to say where star equals to 5. Okay, so that's what they're saying essentially is that you take the states, you make sure that you select the unique one, and you count. Okay, so I hope that kind of like give you the better perspective. But then they added a trick. The trick was that you're gonna have to order this, right? Let's say, for instance, California had like the number of businesses. Let's say it's 10. The number of like businesses with 5 stars. I don't know, Arizona, Texas, maybe it also had 10. So you can see that they have the same number of like of number of businesses with 5 stars. So if this is the case, then you should order this by the character, like the alphabetical order. So Arizona should come first. So don't order by this. This will be the first thing that you order by. So the first thing that you order by is gonna be the number of businesses in the state. But if they are equal, right, then you order by the character. Like Arizona will come first, then California will come second, right? Then the other ones will continue just like that. But only when the number of they have the same number of businesses. Essentially, that's what the question wants. I hope that kind of like gave you guys kind of like a better way to understand it. So I'm not going to talk about business understanding because we just did that. So I'm just going to go straight to discussing the solution. Okay. So I might have gave you a clue that we definitely, to solve this, we definitely going to have to group by state. And we after we group by states, then we can actually count the businesses in that state. So in each state, so group by, you can think of it as like it's taking one state and say for that one state, please count the number of businesses. Okay, please count the number of businesses ID. Then after, but when you count them, only want the businesses where the star is actually equals to 5. Okay, but then the trick is that it can happen that the businesses or the states have the same number of businesses with 5-star, right? So when this happens, essentially what we need to do then is that we need to order them in characters in alphabetical order. I think they're calling it that, alpha. Yeah. So, but the default order order should be the number of businesses. Okay, that's it, guys. Like, we're done. Like, that's like the solution. That's like the way of thinking I'm thinking about this. So yeah, let's get into it and start drafting this, right? So the admin, I forgot about the admin. The admin is that top 5 states, right? So we need 5 states. That's one thing. I think we need to order etc. So I'll just read again the question because these are like admin. Like I said, guys, the admin are like those small things that you just need to do to the code so that it looks fine. But but they are not the core meat of the solution. So what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna start with selecting. Actually, let me just use the code. I'm gonna say start directly from the group by. I wanna group by state. After that, I definitely wanna select the state. Okay, and I'd like to count the business ID. I'm gonna call it as number, so that you guys can actually understand, as number of 5-star businesses. Okay. Then I'm gonna have a word clause, guys. Why stars equals to 5. This should not do the trick, but it should get us halfway. So meaning that we should be having all the businesses and the number of stars. This represents the number of 5 stars. So you can see this state has like 2 number 5-star businesses, something like that, right? But this is where the trick is, guys. The trick is that now we need to order these. And when we need to order this, it can happen that some of these have some sort of like, we need to order like the number of businesses by we need to order them in descending order. and it can happen that some of these businesses like have the same number of 5-star business. Some of these states, I mean, sorry, have the number of 5-star businesses. So what you need to do in that case is that we need to order by the alphabetical order. So I'm gonna use a rank function, okay, and a rank function essentially is gonna give me all the rank. Then I'm just gonna say order by. So this is a window function. So I'm gonna, like I said, the default is gonna be we order by the business ID. So we're gonna be business ID. I hope I didn't make, and this should be a descending order because we want the first top state with like the more businesses with 5-star. And I'm just gonna say count if it happens that then this we have some sort of like equal numbers, then we just gonna then count business ID in ascending order, okay, as I'm gonna say as rank. Okay guys, so this should do the trick, you see, and it did order them. You see, like we have Arizona is 10 and it ranked number 1, and you can see it does the trick. And we have like this, it ordered number 4, this order number 4. So the we have all of these correctly. So if we look at the question again, we are told that in case there are ties, right, in the number of businesses, return all the unique states. So meaning that if there are ties, like you can see here, like these states have the same number of rank, we need to return all the unique states. So the unique part of the unique portion of things, we know that it's handled by the group by. So group by is always going to return the unique state. However, the part whereby it says return all, that's the part that we need to work on, because now I know that the question said return top 5, but in this case, as you can see, we have like these states here have the same rank. Then we need to return all of them. So yeah, that's one thing, right? So which means that us using the rank instead of the dense rank makes sense, because a rank is gonna make sure that like we have 1, 2, 3, and this is number 4, this is also number 4, this is also number 4, and instead of giving these like 5, 6 or something like that, right? So essentially we're gonna return all of them. So this is fine. I hope you guys actually watched the first video, where I think it is the second one. So I defined the dense rank and rank. Please check it out. Please check it out, because I did actually discuss the difference between the two. So now, given that, we just need to return all of that. So we're just gonna say where the rank is less than 5. So we're just gonna do that and say select all from CTE where rank is less than 5. So this is run this, and I think I made a mistake here. It's supposed to be S, and this is what we have, right? I'm gonna check the solution and it works. So yeah, I feel like this question is somewhat hard, mainly because of like I think personally I think it could be because of this rank and the window function portion, because it's quite tricky. You need to understand that, okay. Also I feel like the ordering part, so you need to understand that, okay, this I have to order by the business ID, But if like we have the same number of business ID, the state have the same number of business ID with 5 stars, then you just need to order by the business ID name, alphabetical order. So that's one way. So yeah, I feel like that's what could have made it hard. But yeah, I hope you guys actually got to understand. I'll say like the key takeaway for me personally is that when you when you have to order, like let's say you have to order maybe by a specific count or maybe a character or something like that, you're gonna get multiple of those questions. This is how you do it. So this is how you kind of like do it. You can also do it on a group by level. Second thing that I'll say, the key takeaway is that rank function. So when to use a dense rank and when to use a rank. In this case, we needed to use a rank. Um, yeah, I'll say those are the key main things. But other than that, yeah, I don't think it was that bad. So let's go to the next question. So now we're gonna look at the fifth question, which is income by title and gender. So essentially, we're told that we need to find the average total compensation based on employee titles and gender. Total compensation is calculated by adding both the salary and bonus of each employee. However, not every employee receive a bonus, so disregard employees without a bonus in your calculation. Employees can receive more than one bonus. Output the employee title, so this is part of the admin. So understanding the problem, right, which is the most important part. So what we are required essentially is that we need to calculate the average total compensation, and essentially average compensation, it is based on the salary and bonus of the employee. So if, just gonna make sure that it's under this. So if employee does not have bonus, leave them out. Do not include them in the calculations. Okay. Then, however, not every employee receive a bonus. Employee can receive more than one bonus. I think that's also important. Employees, I think this is quite important, guys, because it's gonna change a little bit how we think. Employees have multiple bonus. Okay, so by writing this, it kind of like let me take out like the key things that I think are gonna be important. So the second thing that we're gonna look at, guys, is the schema. Okay, so by the schema I mean, like, do we have a table to get all of this stuff? So we look like we have the employee table. So employee table has an employee ID, and it has that salary that we're looking for. So what do you do ne? Is that all the time when you solve a problem, look for columns that you think you're gonna use. Like for example, ne, you can see on this question, ne, they say that salary, you're gonna have to get a bonus. You have to do the calculation based on employee title and gender. Then you go to a table and you look at all those columns. So this way it helps you, because if it happens that a column is not there, then you know that you have to somehow take into consideration that maybe you have to write some script to derive that column or something like that, right? So but in this case, the main column, it's here. I don't see the bonus, so the bonus is on the another table, which is here, and we can link these tables by the employee ID. So this looks good also far, and we can see that we have a gender here. Yeah, and employee title is there. So for instance, let's say employee title was not there, maybe the name would have had the title, like maybe there was been the title was with the name or something like that, and you needed to extract that title from the name, something like that, right? So it's important to kind of like understand all the columns and see that they are there. So I think from the schema perspective, what we can write is that we will need definitely we will need to join the bonus and salary table, because that's what the compensation, right? The average compensation. You still remember it says, actually let me put a plus here so that we don't forget as we're writing our code. But yeah, the reason we need this is because we need to add salary and bonus, so that's why here we need to join this, right? So that's the schema. You can add more, but I think that's fine, and I think it's straightforward. So solution, this is how our thinking process. How are we going to solve this, right? So because we're told that we need to find the average total compensation based on employee title and gender, and we're told that the total compensation is calculated by adding the salary and the bonus of each employees. So what's going on is that we have two tables, guys, right? And the other one has a bonus and the other one has a salary, and we need to join these so that we can have them on one row. We can have like the bonus and the salary on one row. So let's go to whiteboard and let's explain this. So we have one table, right, which is holding the salary. The salary, let's say it's 5, right? This is the salary. Then we have another table, and this is employee ID, maybe let's say 1, and employee ID 1, and the bonus here for bonus, let's say it's 5. So we need to combine these, right, so into one table. So you can think now we're gonna have salary, right, and we're gonna have salary, we're gonna have bonus. Now they're gonna be here 5 employee 1, right? So when they're here, we can then add a new column, right, and we can say compensation, something like that, because they say that compensation is actually salary and bonus. So we're gonna have 10. So what kind of join? That's my second question. What kind of join are we gonna do in this case? From the question, I don't know if you can still recall, they told us that if an employee, so let's say we had an employee 6, the salary is 10, but they do not have a bonus here, right? They do not have a bonus. So we need to discard this. We don't want them. So an inner join, I think it will work fine, because an inner join, it will make sure that if an ID, if an ID is in here, bring it. If it's not in here, for example, 6 is not in here, discard it. We don't want it. 6 is not here, so leave it. So it's just gonna bring the things which are in here, also they're in here. I hope I'm not confusing you, but that's essentially the point. So but there's a trick. The trick is that because now we know that, let's say for example, employee 1, right, can have multiple bonuses, like they said. Maybe let's say employee 1 has 5. So as much as you're gonna join this, you're gonna then duplicate your work, because you're gonna join employee 1 again is gonna be having 5, right, because you did an inner join and you need to join with this 5, and you're gonna get 10. Because of they're looking for the average, don't forget that they're looking for the average. When you go into sum all of these, it's gonna duplicate, because so you don't want this. So what you want to do, in case you're duplicating the salaries, that's my point, you're duplicating the salaries because you want to join, so you're going to duplicate the salaries. So what you want to do in this case is that you want to make sure that before you join, you group these guys here, you group all the bonuses, and you group them by the employee ID. Okay, so this is going to make sure that all the employees that have multiple bonuses, their bonuses are summed into one. So for example, here is going to be 10, employee 1, because he had 2 bonuses, employee 2, but we're going to have a unique employees, right? That's the point, guys. That's it. Like that's like the solution, right? So without even wasting any time, let's write the solution. So my thinking process, guys, is that we need to sum the bonuses, because we don't want duplicate. If we join with the salary without doing this, then we're gonna duplicate the salaries. Then when we're gonna get the average, we're gonna duplicate the salaries. So we don't want that. We want each employee to have the unique bonus. So what I'm saying is that we need to sum bonus, and we're gonna group by employee ID. Okay, employee ID. Cool. What's next? So the next thing is that obviously that's the first step. We're gonna group by, then we're gonna select an employee and their bonus. We're gonna need to join the employee table and the bonus. So we're gonna need an inner join with employee table and bonus table. Oops, I can't type. Employee table and bonus table, right? Then the last step, which is the compensation, now it's like we're answering the question. How would we then approach this? So what we can do is that we're gonna take an average, definitely, because they're on the same table. So we're gonna take the average of bonus, right, plus salary, right? Then don't forget that we wrote this, right? We said average here. That's why I'm using the average. So here it's like the mean, right? So we're taking that, and we need to make sure that we group this, because remember that we're told that even the question states income by title and gender. So we just need to make sure that we group by title and sex. It's called gender. Okay, so that's my thinking process, guys. For now, let's try it and see how far we can get. So I'm just gonna create a width a CTE here, mainly because I want to start with the bonus. So I'm gonna say with total bonus. What we can do is that we can actually do it this way. So I'm just gonna make it nice so that it's easy for you guys. I like to use small caps. So I'm gonna say select all from employee ID. So the first thing that I want to do is that I would like to inner join they're calling it SF bonus, and I'm gonna call it SF bonus on SF bonus dot, I think they're calling it worker ref ID, equals to the employee table, which we're gonna call it imp. It has an imp dot ID. So we're joining on the employee ID. That's it. That's what we're doing. So when we are done with that, we just need to group by, because by grouping by, we're making sure that we're grouping those bonuses for that employee, like I showed you in the whiteboard. So yeah, that's that. But now the most important thing is to sum the bonus. So we're gonna say SF bonus dot bonus. We're gonna say as bonus. Then I'm gonna have to select also the employee ID, because the next step we're gonna have to use this to join. So I think it will be a good idea for me to run this so that you guys can see how the result look like. So in case you're wondering why am I doing an inner join, why didn't I just go to the bonus table and group by, the reason is because remember that we can have an employee ID who's in the bonus table, but they are not in the employee table. So it's more like making sure. So let's go to that. So what I'm saying is that imagine if we have an worker ID, right, and that, but we don't have that worker in this table. So you're just gonna come here and you're just gonna group by and get the bonus average. Then that might actually give you an error, or maybe your results might not be correct or something like that. But anyway, let's run this. What did I do? It says syntax na sf employee. Let's see, guys, did I make an sf select some sf employees? Oh, I didn't see any error here. From, I think I forgot from, right? I think that might have been the problem. Okay, cool. Now we have this table, right? And this is how our table looks like. You can see that we don't have duplicate. All these employee ID are unique, and this is their bonus. And now we have employee bonus. So let's get the salaries now. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna say select all. So we have all the employee bonuses. So we're gonna say select all from total bonus, the table that we just selected now, and TB total bonus is fine. Then I'm gonna left join, and the reason I'm left joining is because you see here the question state, however, not every employee receive a bonus, so disregard employees without a bonus. So you see, I'm prioritizing the bonus table because I want only employees with bonus. So that's why I'm saying prioritize the left table. If anything is not on the left table, I don't want it. I don't want that. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm gonna take the SF employee, then we're gonna say imp, then we're gonna say on imp dot id equals to tb dot id, and this, it's gonna have those two tables now into one. So total bonus, did I make it? So if you look at the results, guys, you will see that now this is good, right? We have the salary and the bonus in one table. So you see the salary is here and the bonus, where's the bonus? It's here. Now our work is gonna be easy because we just need to add these two things. And we know that each and every employee is a bonus. We know this because we joined, we did a left join. So there's no, we already handled that case. So what I'll do in this case, that I'll say imp dot employee dot actually let me start with the average in this. So I'll actually take care of the title and gender. So I'm gonna say tb dot we're gonna have a bonus there, and I'm gonna say employee dot, we're gonna have a salary in that table, and I'm gonna say as average average compensation, right? So however, if we look at the question again, we are told that based on employee title and gender. So what does this mean? It means that we want the average, but it has to be on the title and gender. So this simple means that we need to group by, when I take employee dot employee employee title, right? Oops, I can type today. Employee title, then we're gonna say employee dot sex. I think they're calling it that. So we just need to make sure that the employee title is here and we have sex here. I think we should be fine. So we're gonna have imp dot that, imp dot that. So let's see, we're getting an error. I think I made a mistake here, so I'm just gonna run it and it looks fine. So you can see that we're getting employee title, gender, and we're getting the average compensation. So if I submit this, it should have said salt, and it does. So this is the output that we have. So I hope you guys got to learn something. Key takeaway I'll say for this question was that definitely being able to understand the question and like taking notes of like small things like bonuses. Employees can have more than bonuses, can have more than one bonuses. If you didn't take this into consideration, what you could have done is that you could have just joined these two tables, and then what you're gonna when you join them, you are gonna create those duplicates that I was telling you about. So it's gonna then when you get to do like this, something like group by sex, and you sum them the salary, then you're gonna get those duplicate. But this way, we're able to analyze and see that before we start programming. So yeah, thanks guys. Let's go now to the next question. So now we're gonna look at this question, guys. It states that we need to find the rate of process tickets for each type. Find the rate of process ticket for each type. So this question is quite straightforward. It's like one sentence. It's a medium question from Facebook. So the thing that I would like to look into is the schema. So we can see that we have the complaint ID and the type of the complaint, whether it's processed or not. So processed is a bool, so it's true or false. So how would we then go about solving this, right? So like as usual, guys, what I like to do is that I like to kind of like show you guys like from a diagram perspective. Like let's assume that we have a table like so, and we have like that column that they spoke about, processed, and this is true or false, so like so. Then we have type, so maybe this is type 1, this is type 2. Then have complaint ID, maybe this is complaint 101, complaint 102. So what we need to do, what they are saying here is that we need to, for each unique type, we need to find the rate, right? And what do they mean by the rate? Always when they say the rate, you just know that, okay, you need to take something and divide it by the overall, right? So in this case, let's say we had type 1, right? Type 1, maybe let's say here it was true, let's say here it was false. You take the overall, what's the overall it's for? You take it, you put it here, and you take the processed, whether it's processed. So it's gonna be 1, which is true, which is here it's gonna be true again. So you're gonna put 2 here, and this shall be give you the rate. So that's how I always think about the rate all the time, right? But now you don't gonna have to do it for type 1. Obviously there's gonna be multiple type, maybe let's say type 2, type 3. So this already gives you a clue that you're gonna have to use some sort of like a group by operation so that you can do it for each, right? But the question is, the big question now is that obviously when you group by, you want to sum, right? You're gonna want to sum the processed, right? Because you want them to know like you're gonna have to count and you wanna sum them. But then this is a bool, right? This is gonna be a pain to do that. So which means that we can do something smart. We can convert this into 0 and 1, right? So it can be true is 1, false is 0, true is 1, false is 0. So now we're gonna sum. Each time we sum, 1 1 is gonna be 2, then 0. This is 0 is not gonna contribute to anything. Then we count. Then the instances is gonna be 4. So you're gonna have something like this. I know this might be confusing for you guys, but trust me, when I start writing the code, I think you might actually be able to understand much better. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna start by converting the bool into 1 and 0. So this is how they look like. You see here is true or false. So you can do a sum on that string. So that's the first thing that we're gonna do. So I'm gonna say with CTE1 as this. Okay, then I'm gonna say select the type. The type is quite important, and this is when I need to convert that into 0 and 1. So I'm gonna say case when it happens that actually I just like to use small case. When processed as 1c, right? Processed equals to true, then I want to make it 1, else just make it 0. Then I'm just gonna say end this statement, and as processed, but now this processed it's a numeric. Okay, then now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna select this so that I show you guys what I did. So it's gonna be select all from that, and if I run this, we should be able to see that process. Now it's not true or false, but it's 0 or 1. So now it's easy because we can actually sum 1, and we can now get the rate. So like I said, the formula that I use, guys, for the rate is as simple as so, is that I like to sum the processed. So the reason I'm doing a sum here is because you can think of like we're taking all of those 1, we're summing them. So I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, then I'm just gonna enforce this to say this is a numeric. Then I'm just gonna count. This is more like an overall. Also I'm gonna call this one when I'm done as a rate. Then they said that find the rate for each type. So this is where we need to group by type, because we needed to find for each type. And there we are. If I submit, okay, they said that I think we should include the type. Sorry about that. And it works. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I think didn't know that you have to output the type. You know, sometimes such questions they don't tell you what the output is. But yeah, you just need to ask the interviewer in case you're in an interview what you should output. But yeah, this is it, guys. I think this one wasn't that hard. Maybe the confusing part was this. Yeah, maybe that was the only thing, but as long as you understand like the rate, then you just know that okay, maybe I need to convert this to 0 and 1, and maybe that's what makes it a medium question. With that out of the way, guys, let's go to the next question then. Okay, guys, we are closing it with the last question, and it's going to be an easy question. I wanted to solve 11 or at least 10 questions, but the other ones that I wanted to solve them with Python, Pandas. Then I decided to break the videos into 2. So there's going to be another video. Then it's also going to have 7 questions that I'm going to solve. Then this one is also going to have 7 questions. So this will be the last question. So in this question, we are told that we need to find all posts which were reacted with a heart. So this question was from Facebook, and we need to find all those posts. So I think also this question might be straightforward. Looking at the tables, we're given the reaction tables and we're given the post tables. So how would I then approach this is that they say that find all the posts which were reacted with a heart. So for such post, output all the column from the Facebook posts. Okay, so they don't want all the columns from this, they want all the column from this. So I'm gonna say let's prioritize this table. So we're gonna select from it because then we're gonna left join it with them with the Facebook reaction table. The reason I'm saying left join is because you're prioritizing the post and you only want to check if the post had a reaction of a heart. So that's why I'm using a left join. So it's like I just want to make sure that I have all them all the necessary posts. It's just that they need to have a heart, right? So the second thing is that we need to have an edge case. I think it might be possible that some of the posts here, maybe they've been reposted, so we must be on the lookout for the duplicates or something like that. So yeah, I think I'm not gonna try to write the solution here. I think this is an easy problem, so I'm gonna go straight to coding this. So my first approach will be like we're selecting from the Facebook approach. Then I'm gonna say let's left join with the Facebook reaction, right? Reactions, and we're gonna call this one reaction, and we're gonna join on reactions dot. So I'm gonna say, guys, let's join on the post ID, right? So because the main focus here is the post, remember that we want to know if the post has been liked with a heart or not. So if you join with something like poster, a poster has multiple posts, so this might give you a problem. So I think to join with the post ID, it makes sense. Okay, so I'm just gonna say post ID equals to I'm gonna call this one post, give it an alias of post, and we're gonna say post dot post ID. Then we're gonna say where reactions dot reaction. So I'm taking from this table, I'm taking the column called reaction, and I'm just gonna say I just want where there's a heart, and I just want to make sure that everything is just unique, distinct. So to select all the column without actually specifying them, you can use this trick here. You can say post dot all. So it's just going to make sure that it's get all the column from the table called post. So you can just do something like so. And if I run this, we have an error. So it says post error in your post. Oh, it's because of error. I highlighted it. And we have this column, LeBron James is the top class, and if we look at the solution, it's solved. So yeah, guys, I think that was the last question. So thank you for tuning in. Check the second video. It's all gonna have pandas questions. So there's also gonna be 7 questions that we're gonna go through, and we're solving them with Python pandas. Thanks, guys.